Hey everyone, Camille and James here, 88 Fitness Training. Welcome back. We're continuing on with our beginners hypertrophy workout series. Today we're talking about the chest. Yeah. So James is going to assist me today, and we're going to take you through the most effective exercises for building mass in your chest when you're a beginner. So stay tuned, check it out. When you're a beginner, there are so many different exercises you can choose from when you're training chest that it quite frankly can be overwhelming. So James and I are here today to cut through all of that and just get right to the chase, and we'll tell you exactly which exercises are the most effective when you're a beginner trying to gain the chest mass. Alright, so if you've been following this series for a while, you know we have a secret formula for these beginner chest workouts. Go ahead, James. Share the secret formula with them.
The secret formula is 2 compound moves followed by 2 isolation moves.
Yes. So you're always going to want to start with the compound exercises. These are very challenging. They're multi-joint, muscle movements. And so right out the gate, when you're nice and fresh, nothing's fatigued, you want to hit those heavy compound exercises, really fatigue those muscles. And then we go into that isolation, pretty specific muscle work.
Yeah, a good way to think about compound exercise is a fundamental exercise. If you played a sport, grow up playing sports, every sport has fundamentals. You master the fundamentals, but then you keep practicing them. You don't go to basketball practice and not practice foul shots. I don't care if you're all the way up to the NBA, they still practice their foul shots. It's a fundamental. The basic compound moves are fundamentals. You got to master them and then continue to keep mastering them and pushing them and getting better at it.
Yeah, I think the place where you go wrong is there's a lot of influencers out on social media, and they're showing you one-off isolation exercises that are for a very specific reason. But when you're a beginner, we're looking to generate overall mass, and so mastering those fundamentals, those fundamental compounds, is really where you need to start and focus your energy and time.
100%. Puts the most load on the muscle, get you the most gains.
All right, so let's jump right in. All right, compound exercise number 1 is going to be a barbell chest press. All right, so James is going to demonstrate this for us. Go ahead, James.
The king of chest exercises, Joe.
Yes, that's why it's number 1. So it's a compound exercise. We're moving at the elbows. We're moving the chest. We're working everything. You want to come down nice and deep. See how he's just lightly touching the top of his chest? He's got his arms pretty wide. And then elbows, got a nice flare to them. That way he's able to really fully stretch this chest out. Just like that.
All right, some good tips for a beginner especially. And yeah, some tips. You want to keep the negative portion of the rep on the chest. You want the muscles to work. I just started following a guy on Instagram. He's got 405 pounds and he's dropping it on his chest trying to get a bounce. What? No, don't do that.
Yeah.
If nothing else, you're getting the negative portion of the rep. Even if you can't press it back up, you're still getting that negative portion, which is going to get you more gains than pushing it back up anyway. So don't do the drop it. Don't do that. Don't try to bounce it off your chest. Get that negative portion of the rep and then press it back up.
So you might be wondering why barbell bench press versus dumbbell as a beginner. It is a kind of a technical lift. You want to make sure you place your hands in the right place, and we have videos for that. But in terms of trying to generate overall mass, nothing's going to beat this barbell, because over time you're going to be able to add more weight, and progressively overload.
Yep.
And so that's one of the important things as a beginner. As it becomes too easy, we need to make it harder. We need to have that metabolic stress on the muscle fibers and tissue.
Yeah, dumbbells are great. Dumbbell press is great, but you're not going to beat the barbell.
Right.
The dumbbells are unilateral, which makes you weaker. The barbell is not, which makes you stronger, so you can do more weight, put more load on the muscle with the barbell.
Yeah, and that's not to say that you'll never do dumbbell bench press. In fact, we're going to get ready to do some variations with the dumbbells, but right out the gate, when you're nice and fresh and nothing's fatigued, we want to go ahead and hit the barbell bench press. That's going to be your number 1 compound exercise.
King of chest exercises.
Exercise number 2, also a compound, incline dumbbell chest press. Absolutely. So we're just going to take this bench. James is going to put it on a slight incline. And you don't need much, y'all. Like, he just went 1 level up.
Yep.
A lot of commercial gyms are going to have you come up even higher. That's going to be mostly shoulders that you're training there, or you're going to get a lot of shoulders. So you only want a slight incline there. So find the adjustable bench at the gym.
Agreed. Those commercial benches, that's almost extreme incline.
It's like a 45, yeah.
You might as well do overhead press at that point. You only need this much incline to hit your upper chest. And don't mind my hoodie. It's cold in here. I didn't want to lay on the bench because it's cold. So don't mind the hoodie.
All right. So now we're doing some of that dumbbell work. James has some dumbbells. Same position. His arms are flared out, but he's on the incline now, which is going to target that upper chest region. And don't get it wrong, it's still working the whole chest. We're just shifting that emphasis just slightly to upper chest.
Yeah, upper chest is a weak area for a lot of guys too. So I would definitely make sure you get an incline, especially as a beginner, because you don't want a weak spot to start off with. And like I said, it's a very common weak spot for a lot of guys.
Yeah. All right, so just like that, we want to hit about 6 to 12 reps. Anytime you get past 10, it's too late. Time to grab a heavier set of dumbbells and get it in, y'all. I mean, that's the key here. We constantly need to challenge ourselves, either adding reps or adding weight.
Yeah. Advantage of the dumbbells is you get a better stretch and a better squeeze. You're going to go lighter than the barbell, but you do get a better stretch and a better squeeze with the dumbbell.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, like I was telling you, we started with the barbell, but there's definitely a place for the dumbbells. But it's only after we've done that heavy compound work with the barbell that we then worked in the dumbbells to get that nice deep stretch and increased range of motion.
The secret formula, y'all.
But it's still a compound nevertheless. So those are your 2 primary compound exercises that you're going to do. All right. Now that we've finished the compound exercises, we're going to move into the second part of our secret formula, the isolation exercises. All right, now, y'all, when you're training chest, there's 2 basic movements. What are they, James?
Presses and flies.
Yes. So now we're going to get into flies, and that is going to be your isolation exercise for that chest.
Yes.
So we're going to have a flat bench like James has, and we're just going to do dumbbell flies. All right. So he's just going to open up. He's going to come down nice and deep, getting that nice deep stretch across that chest, and then coming up, and he's squeezing. Just like this. This should be pretty straightforward as a beginner. Nothing too tricky about it. Just open up nice and deep. Get that deep stretch. Come up. Squeeze the chest the entire time.
Right. So good tip here. I see a lot of beginners, they want to start here and then start flying. Don't start at the bottom.
Yeah.
Start at the top. If you're too heavy and accidentally start at the bottom right here and stretch out, you're going to break a shoulder.
Yeah, injure yourself. So start at the top.
Make sure you start at the top and then stretch them out and squeeze them.
And start light, y'all, and work your way up. You'll definitely know when you're at that right weight because you'll only be able to get that 6 to 12 reps. If you're doing 20 reps on this, it's definitely too light. Get a heavier dumbbell. And same thing, we're not here to build strength, which would be 5 reps or less. So we want to make sure we're hitting that 6 to 12. That is the hypertrophy range, the right rep range for us.
Yeah, and when you're doing an isolation exercise, this is a great example. It is much easier to get that mind and muscle connection when you're isolating the muscle. You might not isolate and feel your chest working when you're doing bench press. Believe me, it is. It took me a couple years before I could get the mind and muscle on a bench press, but I got it right away on a fly. So if you're a beginner, work on that mind and muscle when you're doing the isolation, the fly movements.
Absolutely. All right, isolation exercise number 1, dumbbell chest flies. All right, isolation exercise number 2, a cable fly. So we're just gonna take our pulleys here, set them up. They're about chest height right there. Walk out. You wanna stretch that chest, bring it together in the middle and squeeze just like that. Now the advantage of the cables over the dumbbells is that you're gonna have constant tension. So as he comes back, he's still under load in the middle, and he can really squeeze and activate and feel those muscles.
Great point. So when you're doing flies with a dumbbell, when you get to the top here, it's kind of dead space, especially if you're not contracting at the top. It's absolutely dead space. Gravity's up and down, it's not to the side, whereas you're pulling from the side here, constant tension throughout the whole range of motion.
Absolutely. I think it's a lot easier too, mind muscle connection for a beginner on the cables as well.
Agreed.
It's a lot smoother of a motion as well, and pretty versatile. I mean, you can just really crank up the weight on this cable, and it's pretty comfortable on the shoulder joints.
Yep. Another pro tip, remember, get a better contraction, turn those pinkies up right here. Boom.
There you go.
Supinate. Just a pro tip, if you're a beginner, you don't really have to sweat this too much. You're gonna feel it anyway. But you might as well start doing it right off the bat. Turn those pinkies up and get a better contraction on that chest.
Now you can see we have the pulleys positioned pretty much midline of his chest. So it's gonna hit midline of his chest. There's different ways you can position these, up higher or down high or lower, and that's gonna emphasize different areas of the chest. But as a beginner, let's start with the middle of the chest, right? Let's just start with the meaty part.
It's good advice. I mean, you start with the big stuff, the meaty stuff, the middle stuff, and then see what you got to fill in after a couple months of training.
Yeah, absolutely. So keep it simple, y'all. You don't need to be doing all these, different tricks and, one-off crazy exercises. Just stick with the basics, like we said. And so isolation exercise number 2 is a cable fly. Well, there you have it, y'all. That is your beginner's chest hypertrophy workout. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Just as a recap, we had the secret formula for our beginner series workouts. It's 2 compounds, 2 isolation exercises, y'all. There's nothing more complicated to it. So we're gonna start off with the biggest compound challenging exercise that we can, which was
flat barbell bench press.
Yeah, barbell bench press, y'all. So start with the heaviest, the nastiest compound for that chest. Really fatigue it, work those muscles, and then we move on to our second compound.
Dumbbell incline presses.
Yes, that's gonna work on slightly more of the upper area of the chest. You're gonna get that nice deep stretch with those dumbbells, which is a little different than the barbell. All around great compound exercise.
Both of them, great exercise.
Yeah, and then you wrap it up with that isolation work. But only then do we do that isolation work, right? Yes. So we hit the dumbbell flies on the flat bench, really focusing on that mind muscle connection, the contraction. And then we finished it with isolation exercise number 2, the cable fly. And what was the advantage of the cable fly? Constant tension, y'all. Yep, no dead space at the top. So there you have it. It's as simple as that. 4 exercises, beginner chest workout. Always hit that 6 to 12 rep range. That's the muscle building range. And that's all there is to it, y'all.
Absolutely. This is a great workout. If you're a beginner, put the effort and the intensity into 4 exercises. This is all you need. If you put in the proper intensity and effort, 4 exercises is more than enough as a beginner, believe me, especially on the compound moves. If you put your effort and your intensity into the compound moves, you're going to get the gains. As you move on, get a couple years advanced, intermediate advanced, you might want to throw a decline move in there. But as a beginner, these 4 exercises are all you need. Just make sure you're putting in gut-busted intensity, especially into those compound moves.
All right, y'all, I hope you enjoyed this series. There's more videos in the series, so definitely check those out as well. And as always, hit that like and subscribe. Camille, James, 88 Fitness Training.